Peace, family. Peace, peace, peace. We should be live right now. This is Brother Rich back at you with my brother Billy Carson. Let me turn this down. While the people fill in the chat, when we get this together, let me just see what's going on real quick here. I just surprised y'all. I like to do that from time to time. All right, peace to the chat. I see y'all there. Young Old Head, Stephen Baker, Psych L Variety, Rolex Enterprise, Will D. All right. Rich the Bloodline. Yes, yes, indeed. All right, let's get started. Let me give a shout out to some great businesses that I want y'all to support, and then we will get started. We got a great show, man. A great show tonight. A great show that everybody, you need to tell your family and friends to tune in. That's how great of a show this is tonight. It's hard to get this level of spirituality and science at 10:40 at night on a Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to find this level of information at 10:30 at night on a Wednesday. So y'all gonna be in for a good one tonight. But let me give a shout out to some of these ads real quick. Great businesses. All right, shout out to Riverside Tai Chi. As I always tell you, he got the glucose support formula. If you're having problems or need issues with that, make sure you hit up the website, riversidetai.com/glucose support formula. King Simon got a new book coming out in November. He's doing pre-orders right now. In terms of numerology, this man is one of the best. He has helped me for over a decade in terms of my personal life. So if you need help and you think if he can help you as well, contact his number, call him, text him, whatever. Mixerhealth.com, like I always tell you, they got the raw sea moss herbal supplements. They got products for the sisters. They got products for the brothers. No preservatives, no additives. Make sure you go to mixerhealth.com. The hat I have on is from this brother here. So I'm wearing it to help support and promote the brother. Copper Child Mike L. He got the high frequency clothing. See, I got the Black Magic 363 family. So this brother does it. You could get your hat custom. You could get it customized. So he customizes it. You talk to the brother here. He'll hook you up real good. He also sells crystals, but make sure you hit up his website and show support. Magic Money, like I tell you, hit up the Cash App. $ Black Magic 363. The fee is $10. Make sure you leave your email. It's one of the best ebooks out there based on acquiring money through spiritual techniques. And last but not least, the man that's here today, Billy Carson, man, we got an amazing presentation coming, a webinar, a workshop coming on December 5th. It's not a lot of good workshops on remote viewing. Billy Carson was trained by one of the best, and he's real good at it. I talked to the brother, off camera. He's sharp with it. So we're gonna go into things related to that tonight. But I want all y'all to be there December 5th, the remote viewing workshop. The link is in the description bar. This is one of the most requested workshops that I have done and I have made available. So I look forward to seeing all y'all there. It's going to be live. He's going to be answering questions. You get to talk to each other throughout the workshop as well, on the side with the chat or whatever. So it's going to be amazing. I want y'all to be there. We're going through a paradigm shift right now, spiritually, physically, through the whole planet. So you don't want to get left behind in the old paradigm and not know what the hell's going on, family. So make sure you come to the workshop December 5th. Like I said, the description is in the link. And with that being said, Billy Carson, welcome back to the show, my brother.
Hey, thanks for having me back. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. Well, we back. I know you got a great presentation tonight. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. We filling in the chat room fast. Shout out to Alicia Palmer. You're welcome. Yeah, I thank you for coming on the channel and supporting Akashic Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah, Afro Astrology said Akashic Wednesday. That's what today is? I guess so. Indeed. Donnie, I still love you. I'm just here to say to the, it's all love, Donnie. I appreciate the support. Thanks for coming. We might plant a seed that you may not agree with right now, but you may agree with later on. So I just appreciate you tuning in, Donnie. You know what I'm saying? I really do. We are the Hats website. Go to the description and the Let me see. Yeah. Oh, it's not, nothing's in. Okay, I gotta fix that. All right. Well, it'll be there after the video. But Billy Carson, we're
Yes,
doing
sir.
this workshop on remote viewing
Yeah.
December 5th. And basically, right now, there's so many changes happening in the spirit realm, spiritually inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this year, my brother, is spiritually speaking, like internally, it has been better than the last 7, 8 years in terms of me just breakthroughs just happening, me getting channels,
Yeah.
me getting downloads, as you would say, getting
Mm-hmm.
downloads.
Right.
I've got more downloads this year than I've gotten the last 8 years. So I
Wow.
know something's going on.
Yeah.
So because something's going on, I'm letting the people know it's time we pay attention because they got so many things for us to get distracted by. We really got to focus on what's going on inside of us right now, Billy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting you said that because I was talking to my professor from MIT, Dr. Tara Swart, and we were doing an actual show on my own TV network. And during it, she just randomly said, are you getting, like, are you having more dreams? Are you like getting more information from your dreams? And I was like, wow, that's amazing because that's exactly what's happening. And she said, yeah, this is happening like it's a worldwide phenomenon. It's something that's actually been scientifically studied now. It's not like just, she was just making it up. So this is a real phenomenon that's happening right now. It's showing that a couple things. First of all, the Mayan calendar dates really are synchronizing with this 2020 versus 2012. That's number one. If you go by the right calendar time frame. The second thing is that our solar system, it undulates up and down as it moves through that galactic arm. We're in an arm, and as that galactic arm goes around the galactic center, it actually doesn't stay perfectly at the equator of that center. It actually undulates up and down a few 100 trillion miles up, a few 100 trillion miles down. And right now, we're at the galactic, we've risen up into an area where we are directly at the galactic equator center, like the supermassive black hole at the center of our Milky Way galaxy. It's transmitting and pushing out these cosmic rays and these frequencies, these radioactive frequencies, because we know that now that black holes emit radiation. So this information, these cosmic rays are streaming towards us and coming through the entire galaxy and right into our DNA. Cosmic rays are so small, they actually can penetrate into the body. So there's an energetic field that's literally coming right at us and smacking into us. And it's changing us, it's altering us, it's raising our awareness. People who weren't even thinking about becoming conscious are becoming conscious. People who are, in a situation where they didn't really even care about the stuff of just becoming what's going on around them, you can see the effect of it just like, for example, with all the protests worldwide and whatever. The people don't know the exact method yet on how to really create the change that they want to see. So they protesting as a side effect. And you see this happening globally right now, globally. When everybody realizes what the true secret is to come together in unity and stop participating in the system, then everything will change. But for right now, they're doing the best they can. The best that they can do right now at this time is they think that what works is protesting. But it's just the fact that we're seeing this effect of this awareness go through everybody. And I really do believe it has something to do with these cosmic rays and this cosmic energy coming from the galactic equator, streaming out from that supermassive black hole and directly affecting and altering our DNA. That's what I think it is.
Indeed. I hear several brothers, Blue Pill talks about that a lot. And do you think, the question I want to ask you is, do you think that's why, because sometimes things happen and there's many reasons, there's different levels for why something's happening. So we got the corona thing going on. Do you think on the highest level, or one of the levels, is that they don't want us to receive these cosmic rays because it will awaken us? So they want us inside and they want our mouths covered and all that. Is that connected to what you're talking about?
It's definitely connected. See, they realize that there's a complete awakening happening on this planet, and we outnumber them. Right now, we're at 7.7 billion human beings on the planet. And the people that run the planet is really just under 100 families. So we might be talking about maybe 200, 300 people. And there's even a hierarchy there where at the very top, it's just a handful of people making all the major decisions. So when you realize and analyze, okay, wow, there's so many of them and so few of us, if they really awaken to what's going on and realize the illusion, the grand illusion that we've put over them, if they wake up out of that, it's game over for us. We're done. Like, we can cancel Christmas. It's over. So, go ahead.
No, now, Billy, I was going to say, with these families that run the world, don't you think they're being run by something extraterrestrial? Like, is it really possible for them, a couple of families? Like, somebody got to be feeding them intel, like, do this to humanity, do that to humanity. Do you think they're getting some type of influence from some type of entities from somewhere beyond our
doubt.
planet?
So these people they believe that they're in the bloodline of some of these Anunnaki Atlanteans that were here in super ancient times, and that the kingship and rulership of the planet and humans on the planet was left to them. They even made statements openly. Bob Charles made statements. We have the right to rule over the humans. I mean, they've made these statements out of their own mouth. They truly do believe that because they are, this higher, more direct to the bloodline source of these ancient Atlantean rulers, that the kingship has been left to them. And they've really had become masters through their own inside secret society teachings on how to really manipulate psychologically massive populations. And they become literal masters at it. But they learned that from the Anunnaki. A lot of the stuff you see going on today was already happening in Sumerian tablets. If you read the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation, you discover, which by the way was deciphered back in the 1700s, you discover that they had chemtrails. They were releasing plagues on humans. They installed a political system. I call it polytricks. They installed polytricks to keep us wrapped up. So they put a bicameral Congress in. This is 6,000 years ago, according to these tablets, that they did that. So all these things, all these systematic institutional things that we have going on right now, inflation, they installed inflation into a system that didn't even have inflation. They did that and we know the evidence of this because we found all the Sumerian little chips that have the IOUs on them. Paper money, rock money back then that had no value. You would go down to a farmer that had a goat, and you have 2 bushels of apples, and you trade the 2 bushels of apples for a goat. All of a sudden, there's a big run on goats, and the guy's out of goats. He gives you a little stone that says IOU for 2 goat or for 1 goat. You give him the apples anyway. You come back a week or 2 or a month later, he still doesn't have any goats. Now you have inflation built in. By the time you come back again, goats, for whatever reason, is is really in demand. So that little IOU he gave you for 1 goat is only worth half a goat. You need 2 of those to get 1 goat now. They installed this way back millennia ago. So now they got it to where, okay, you had the Tower of Babel incident, which they had to spread the humans out, make them dumb, shorten their lifespans and everything else, because they realized when they work together, they can achieve anything. And here we go now, moving into this consciousness wave with all these social media platforms, putting out all this consciousness. So what they did was they said, okay, we got to dumb this down. We got to inject more sexuality, change the algorithm up. So that if you see something sexual, something, that's, this twerking and this dancing and all this kind of stuff, or beautiful physiques, as soon as you look at that one time, that's all you'll ever see on your feed ever again. You'll never see anything conscious ever again. So they switched that up. But now we got the COVID-19 with the nanobot virus that's been injected into our bodies, that's affecting us, slowing us down, collapsing economies, making the divide between rich and poor bigger, got us wearing masks so we can recycle our own carbon monoxide and kill more brain cells. It's all part of a massive, huge plan. And their plans are so big and so well thought out, it escapes our perception. In the Illuminati Secret Covenant, it says that the illusion will be so large that it will escape their perception. So they know what they're doing, and they do it in such a big way that people actually say, oh, there's no way this could be part of a grand master plan, when in actuality, It is, because they plan for millennia. They don't plan for what they're going to do on Friday with their paycheck. They're trying to think what they're going to do in 5,000 years, 6,000 years, 10,000 years. That's how they're planning.
Wow. I mean, this is some deep stuff here. I don't know. Everybody's not ready for this level of information. Like you said,
Yeah.
the illusion is so great that when you talk like this, or I talk like this, people just be like, yo, y'all some crazy niggas there, man.
Right.
Like, what are y'all talking about? Like y'all spaced out. You know what I'm saying? Because we're so caught up in the illusion. But I definitely get what you're saying. And let's get to the Akashic records, because we hear so much about the Akashic records.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know how much can remote viewing, which I'm going to participate in on December 5th, and I hope everybody listening is as well, is going to help me tap into the Akashic records.
Right.
Now, one thing I remember, we always hear about this happened 6,000, 10,000 years ago, or 15,000 years ago. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we've been around millions of years. So I want to ask you, do you agree with that statement that somebody that may look like, well, I'm sure they look different. We look different back then, but have we been around for eons? And two, what explains to the people what exactly is the Akashic records?
I believe that we have been here for millions of years, not as Homo sapiens sapien, because now we are literally a genetic modification. But prior to us, our cousins that were here prior to the genetic modification had been here for millions of years and had gone through many cycles on Earth. The Mayans said we had been through 4 worlds. That's 4 times of a yuga cycle in the Indian mindset or explanation, where we had risen and fallen, meaning we had risen to a high level of civilization globally to a golden age and then fell again, risen and fallen. And I think that the Anunnaki, or these Atlantean people, some call them, had come here during the time where we had fallen again. And our cousins were here. I think they were more advanced than us spiritually, but technologically they were in a lower state. And so the Anunnaki, they masqueraded as gods, and they took advantage of that situation. They set up shop here as a breakaway civilization for their own purposes of mining resources and everything else. But yeah, I do believe that he's right, that we have been here for millions of years. Also, the Akashic records, I have a little 16 slide presentation. Please. I'd like to go into that because I really want to get people to understand specifically exactly what they are. So I'm going to go into that if you give me a screen share capability.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I got it.
And let me see here. Screen share.
Okay, share all. All right, you should be good now.
Okay, cool. All right. This is going to be a quick one, but this is really just to fine tune and go right into it, you know, so we hit it right on the head.
Okay.
Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, this is just a small portion of a huge 2-hour presentation I did on the Akashic records. So what are the Akashic records? Let me move this up and out of my way here. The Akashic records are the energetic records of all souls about their past lives, the present lives, and possible future lives. Each soul has its Akashic record, like a series of books, with each book representing one lifetime. The hall of, or which is like the hall of records, or the library of the Akashic records, is where the souls, the Akashic records, are stored energetically. It's energetic information. It's an energetic database. In other words, the information is stored in the Akashic field, also known as the 0-point energy field. The records are located behind your neck. The records of your body are directly connected to your chakras and are also connected to the Akashic records of your soul, which is located in the Akasha, or otherwise known as the 5th dimension. So we're going to look into this just a little bit here. The 5th dimension is the dimension of creation and manifestation, the vibrational space of no judgment, fear, density, thought, or ego. While you physically live in the 3rd dimension, when you access the Akashic records of your soul, you are tapping into the 5th dimension. We always hear this thing about, you know, we're headed to 5D and we got to get 5D consciousness. That's where this stems from. It actually stems from accessing the Akashic record, accessing the energy field of creation and manifestation. So the term Akashic records can be traced back to 1883, as I first mentioned by the author Alfred Percy Sinnett when I was talking earlier to somebody else, in this book called Esoteric Buddhism, he describes how Eastern philosophy, universal records physically exist in the realm known as the Akasha. This realm can be accessed by enlightened individuals, and the term Akasha is actually Sanskrit, and it means ether. So we're talking about tapping into or accessing the ether of space-time itself, where all data and all information is stored. And why is information stored there? Because our brains literally create electromagnetic frequencies that project out of the brain. You might have heard me say this before. So every thought that you're thinking, including every thought you're thinking right now at this moment, is sending a light wave out of your skull. And how do we know this? If I took you to a laboratory and put a cap on with the electrodes and had you think about anything at all, those waves of light coming out of your head will get sent to a computer, and we can see your brain scan on a computer. That's how it works. Now, those light waves of every thought literally is out there from the time that you first created a thought until now, is out in space-time, in the ether, embedded into the energetic grid or the Akasha, which is tied to a specific frequency that resonates at your chakra frequency of your own body. So just like mass consciousness, okay, the universal consciousness is just one, but it breaks out and it comes down into the third dimension. And then each one of those legs that it has is a specific tuned frequency that inhabits an avatar body. So your avatar body is attuned to a specific frequency, and it picks up. So just like there's a radio station in your city, when that radio station turns on their power in the morning, they're able to broadcast out all these different channels from one station. That's what the universe is doing. It's still just one frequency, but with a slightly adjusted dial. Okay. Amazingly, references to the Akashic records can be found thousands of years earlier in the ancient Hindu scriptures known as the Mahabharata and the Puranas. These scriptures mention the ancient sage known as Narada. The ancients say that Narada transcended consciousness to gather vast knowledge and give wisdom teachings to the people. It is said that Narada had access to a great source of knowledge, that it is the fabric of divine cosmic order, and Narada had the ability to tap into the universal records known as Akasha. I've studied this extensively, and I have this. Let me pick this. This is heavy. This is my book set here. This is the Mahabharata. Okay.
Well, you ain't playing.
Huh?
You ain't playing, man.
No, I don't play no games now. I don't play no games. I probably read all of these about 5 or 6 times each. So, oops, sorry. That thing is heavy, man. Each book is approximately maybe a little bit more than an inch and a half thick, and it's a lot of information. But for me, this is like going to the university. This is like going to spiritual university. This Mahabharata right here. This is no joke. I mean, I can do workshops for 10 years straight, once a week, from just these books right here. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And this is the whole 10-volume set. And so Narada is in there, and what he's doing is he found a way to tap into this information, and he's able to gather up knowledge from the past, present, and even the future of individual people. He can literally lay out what's going to happen to them and tell them what's going to happen, and he can, he knows like their whole life story. It's incredible because, see, why it works is in the 5th dimension, we got to remember, there is no arrow of time. So in the 5th dimension, the past, present, and future happen all at once. And how you can tap into a specific person's information is because every person is transmitting from this, I guess you want to call it a chakra umbilical cord. They're transmitting a specific frequency into the energetic grid. And once you can tap into that, you're able to then, basically literally read that person from head to toe as to everything that they've done. The whole thing about this is so amazing because when I first started learning about this, I realized that the Book of Life, it's in the biblical text, and it's also in the Emerald Tablets, which is where the Bible got it from, the Emerald Tablets, 36,000 years old. That's what you're talking about. Both talks about the Book of Life. and that everybody's information is in there. Why is that? It's in there because every thought you ever thunk, everything you've ever done in your mind exists now as a light wave in the grid permanently, like permanently. If you thought about getting up right now and turning off this computer, that's in the grid. I mean, everything is there. So this book of life thing, knowing everything you've ever done, said, or thought about, is all right there. It's amazing. And it can't go anywhere. That's real science too. The Akashic records of your soul contain all the memories of all the experiences acquired in all lifetimes. So even your incarnated lifetimes are in this grid. Every living being has its own Akashic record, and a group of people has its own Akashic records. The Theosophy and Anthroposophy, the Akashic records are a compendium of all human events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intent ever to have occurred in the past, present, or future. They are believed by Theosophists to be encoded in a non-physical plane of existence known as the etheric plane. Talking a little funny with these braces. I got these new braces in my mouth, and they're making me slur my words a little bit. These things are tight. According to Edgar Casey, the Akashic records are the universe's version of what we call a supercomputer. These records are stored in a multidimensional central storage facility and contain all information. All. The Akashic records store the past, present, and future of everything that exists in the universe and exists all around us every day at every point in space-time. That's Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet. This guy here, now in more modern times, there's a museum after him right now that you can go to and visit. He literally was giving, they call it prophecies, but he was just literally tapping into the Akashic records. They would bring sick people to him, and he would analyze that person, and he would analyze the symptoms, and he would go into the Akashic record field and get information from space-time as to how to fix this person's illness. I mean, it was incredible what this guy was able to do. Where are the Akashic records located? Within the Akashic record, every energy field, there is a specific frequency uniquely tuned to each human's individual torus field. Each person is transmitting and receiving information from this field just like a modern-day Wi-Fi network. I talked about this before when I did the I Imagination workshop, and also when I spoke in Brooklyn at the St. Francis College when I came down there to speak with Brother Rich. Just like our global Wi-Fi network is invisible to the human eye, but we know it exists. The same for the Akashic record energy field. It exists all around us, and once we access it, we can receive limitless information about anything in the universe. Now, scientifically, a lot of theoretical physicists have really discovered that this field exists and that energy can't be destroyed. It's stored. It's always stored. Energy is always saved. There's nothing that can be destroyed when energetically, especially because it's carrying information in the third dimension. So black holes store information as holograms on the event horizon. Now, the event horizon of a black hole is the rim around the edge of the black hole that's illuminated because all the energy particles being swirled around it. And that's how we can identify where a black hole is located, by looking for that energy signature, not the hole itself, because the black hole is so black, we actually never see it. So black holes store information as holograms on the event horizon, says Stephen Hawking, the late, great Stephen Hawking. He passed away a couple years back. Quantum mechanics dictates that anything that is matter and energy can be broken down into information, strings of ones and zeros, for instance. So we're talking about anything that exists is always information. I'm information, your computer screen is information, the microphone I'm talking into is information. And all these things can be broken down into zeros and ones, which is digital code, okay? We know this now scientifically to be a fact in the third dimension. A consequence of this rule is that the information should never disappear, not even if the matter or energy is linked to being sucked in by a black hole. Theoretical physicists have come to the conclusion that when something or someone enters a black hole, the information or data about that person or their object or entity is stored on the event horizon. They used to think that when you went into a black hole, everything was destroyed and ripped apart. Now they realize that that's not the case. All information is stored permanently in space-time, and a black hole can't even destroy it. Stephen Hawking says that the information isn't destroyed by a black hole because it never makes it through the inside. Instead, it's trapped on the event horizon, the boundary in space-time through which matter and light can only pass inward towards the mass of the black hole at its boundary layer. the information is stored in a 2D hologram or super translation. A hologram is a 2D description of a 3D object. The idea is super translations are a hologram of the ingoing particles, Hawkins explained. Thus, they contain all the information that would otherwise be lost. And the reason why I'm talking about this so much is for you to understand, scientists now have realized that information is saved in space-time and it can't be destroyed, it can't be lost. This is very important because we got to have the science behind this. And one last one here, physicist Stephen Hawking says that the information can be stored, but can it be read? Theoretically, if you could tap into this information, somehow you'd be able to reconstruct all events that caused the matter to plunge into the black hole. Now, and that's important because we're talking about if you can tap into the data, the information that's located in space-time in the Akashic records, you can recreate the events. All you need is a supercomputer that can analyze the data, and you can actually recreate the events. You can actually even recreate an entire universe with this data. If you had a computer system that powerful, or the processing power that incredible, you can recreate an entire universe or an entire new simulation from the data that already exists in this space, in this universe. And I really do think that this universe is part of one of those recreations. I think that we're living in a holographic recreation from data, and that we're just one of many simulations running simultaneously. In my opinion, there could be trillions, maybe even Googles of simulations running concurrently right now as I speak. Think of a black hole as a paper shredder. Documents are ripped to pieces and become unreadable. But if all the paper strings together, it'll make sense. In other words, you put the papers back together from the shredder, you can reconstruct the entire paper all over again and read it. That's what they do in crime scenes. They go to people's houses and they get some evidence. They look through shredders and they find the documents that were shredded, and they take them to a forensics guy and he reconstructs that shredded sheet of paper so they can get evidence off of it. They're reconstructing that information so they can access it. In the 1970s, the same Hawking introduced the concept of Hawking radiation. Photons emitted by the black hole itself due to quantum fluctuations. Initially, Hawking thought the photons carried no meaningful information, but before his death, he changed his mind. This Hawking radiation might be a means for information to escape the black hole. Information's out here, guys. And the reason why we can't see this Akashic field is because visible light is only 1% of what we can see. The electromagnetic waves of your eyes can only detect literally 400 to 790 terahertz. That's a small, tiny bit. That's 1 nanometer of the light wave frequency that exists around us. We can't see gamma rays. We can't see X-rays, infrared, ultraviolet, all those different light frequencies that we can't see, that we know about, that even some of our nature friends can see, like birds and insects. They can tap into some of those other light wave frequencies, but there's so much going on right around us and we're completely oblivious to it, including the fact that every single person that you see is transmitting light waves right out of their skull. Electromagnetic waves are light waves that are invisible to the human eye, but are definitely waves of light, because all electromagnetism waves are light waves. So I wanted to share that with you guys so that you understand, like, the Akashic record thing is not some kind of mystical made up story. It's something that really truly exists. People have really truly accessed it. And one of the things that we're going to be doing with this, I'm going to go back here to my screen, with this workshop that we're going to be doing, I'm going to teach you how to access information in the Akashic field. You're going to get a chance to learn how to access information in the Akashic field. You're going to get a chance to practice this in your own time, obviously, after we get off of the workshop. And the reason why you'll be able to do this, because you can actually literally, the mind goes outside of space and outside of time. And so in that situation, what's happening is you're able to then send your mind to a target. We're going to work on this. You're going to find out what all this means. And when you access that target, you then begin to get information or downloads about that target, which you're going to be writing down. You're going to be semi-meditating, semi-conscious, and you're going to be writing down as it comes to you. There'll be no delay, because you'll find.
Yo, Billy, yeah. You hear me? Yeah, your mic A lot of static is coming through when you start talking about the remote viewing, man. I think they don't want you to tell us about it, man. Something with your mic, Billy.
That's crazy. I just moved my phone away. Let me see that. How's it sound now? That's wild.
Well, you good right now?
Okay, that was wild.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop screen share and go back. Wow, that's crazy. So basically, what I'm saying was during the remote viewing, I'm gonna teach you how you're gonna be getting downloads. So you're gonna set a target, and if it's the Akashic records, I don't know why my camera looks like that. Hold on. Okay, that's better. If it's the Akashic record that you're trying to tap into, you're going to set a target and you're going to go after that target and you're going to get a download and you're going to be in a semi-meditative state. You're going to be writing down all the information as the downloads come in. And you're going to learn that through the class, through the workshop, that you have to put down what the download. The second the download comes in, whatever it is, you've got to go with that, because once you go past that moment, it's up to whatever your brain can be inputting. It can become, oh, it might be my internet that might be unstable. It can become very tricky when you're getting downloads, because if you don't discern the initial information and too much time goes by, like you're undecisive as to what you just received, then sometimes your own brain can input things, and so you have to be very careful. And that's all part of the training that we're going to be going through. How to instantly take that download information and process it instantly and write down exactly what it is, so you can move on to the next step. There'll be a lot of steps in this process, and you're definitely going to want to have a pen, paper, multiple sheets of paper. I'm going to get some worksheets ready for all the people that are paid registered people, and those will be sent out via email before we start the workshop, so you can print those out and everything else ahead of time. It's going to be a very interactive event, and I'll be answering a lot of questions and taking you through a real training, like military training process, that the same exact technique they use to gather intel, from the enemy and everything else. So it's going to be an amazing day. I think that's going to be one of the most incredible 5 hours you've ever spent online, learning a skill that can literally change your life and change your family's life.
Indeed. Somebody want to know, what did they asked something about Ed Dames. Did Ed Dames tell you, hold up, about his work at Area 51? Justin Thomas want to know that.
He told me about quite a few things, actually. He didn't tell me about his work at Area 51, but he told me about missions that occurred or events that occurred between the moon and Earth, and nuclear explosions that happen on Earth, nuclear tests that happen. Certain countries were testing nuclear explosives. You test them underground. A lot of these countries that have the capability of doing nuclear testing, they make you do it underground. And for example, there's a object on the moon, according to him, that literally, I guess the best word to use would be it dissolves, or it's like a beam up thing, like disappears from there, and it reappeared over the actual area that had a nuclear test. The test was a failed test, and they didn't bury it deep enough, and radiation was escaping. And this thing literally disappeared from the moon, and this is a top secret project that he knew about, and it reappeared over the test, and it actually like eradicated the radiation, and it disappeared from there, and then it reappeared back in the spot on the moon where it's supposed to be. This is on the dark side of the moon. The other side of the moon, where he says that the Clementine mission knows about this object and was recorded by the Clementine mission. The Clementine mission was a military satellite mission to a low lunar orbit, and it went around the moon, low lunar orbit, went to the back side of the moon, decided that we can't see from here because we're in a geostationary orbit with the moon. And it recorded a lot of anomalies on that side of the moon, which it transmitted back here to Earth. They claim that the satellite never came back from the dark side of the moon. After it transmitted quite a few images, maybe close to 5,000 or 6,000 images, and then it went dark. Now, I already knew that when I started researching this thing, the Clementine after I heard about it, was never going to come back because Clementine is the name of the song. You ever heard that song, Clementine?
Yes.
Oh, my darling Clementine, you were
Yeah.
lost and gone forever.
Yeah.
Okay, so once I heard Clementine, I already knew what that meant. That thing was never meant to come back. It was meant to go dark. It probably was dropped off up there or exchanged data. Who knows what they do with these things? But that's just one of many missions that he told me about that are Area 51 type of crazy things. I mean, it sounds phenomenally crazy, but he said it with a straight face, you know. So, and he told us a lot of other amazing things the time that I spent with him. So, you know, it's a lot of wild stuff going on. You can choose to believe it or choose not to believe it. I choose to believe a lot of it because I just think that this mundane world and life that we're living, just get up and go to work and come home and eat dinner and watch a TV show and go to bed. I think that's the boring lie. And I think the other stuff is more real than ever.
Yeah, yeah. It's, I mean, wow. So with the Akashic records, from what I understand, this is like the with what you said, and also this is a field that was created before creation, the pre-created field.
Yeah.
So when we say things, Billy, like um thank the universe or thank God, isn't that like we're thinking we're not going high enough. The universe is below us. The gods that we pray to, the sun, the moon, and the stars, all of that should be obedient to us. The sun,
Yeah.
the moon. But usually, because where I'm getting at is with astrology, we judge our actions based on the movement of the sun, moon, and the stars.
Mm-hmm.
But shouldn't we be able to control all of this since we were born before all of this was created?
Well, everything that's here, including the sun, moon, and stars, and us, it's all been here since the beginning of time, 13.5 billion years ago in this third dimension, in this one universe. So the same atoms that are in your body right now are the same exact atoms that were here at the first moment of creation. The same atoms in the sun and the other stars and all the moons and everything else in this entire universe were all here at the exact same moment. We were all here at the same. We arrived at the same moment, the same exact moment when the arrow of time was created, moving in a direction for the third dimension. We were already all here. Everything in this third dimension is only one thing: reconstituted atoms. So atoms that were here billions of years ago have gone through this cycle of renewal and change and transformation, and now they've reconstituted themselves as your avatar body in this particular time frame. You see, my atoms have reconstituted themselves as my avatar body in this particular time frame. And when I leave out of this avatar body, my light being leaves this avatar body and it decides to go back into dust, these atoms are going to reformulate, repopulate, and move around again. And they'll do this for, trillions of years. They'll just reconstitute and reform into something else. It's like a gigantic 3D computer in a way. They just keep reformulating. So everything that's in a star is in you, and everything that's in a moon is in you. And so we are all on the same energetic grid. So it's not that we should tell them what to do and how to control them and everything else. It's that we're all collectively in this symbiotic relationship with each other. And our energies have a direct effect on each other as well. We have to understand that everything is all connected, and we have a direct effect on each other. I believe that the earth is conscious. I believe that the moon is conscious. I believe the suns are conscious. That's what I personally believe. I believe that every atom individually is conscious because every atom has an electron, and we know through the double slit experiment that electrons make a decision to go from a wave to a particle based on observation. So they're conscious. So I think that everything is conscious, including this microphone I'm talking into, the computer we're looking at to see this interview. I think everything's conscious. So everything is on the grid, everything is conscious, and everything has an energetic field that interacts, and we're all pulling and grabbing on each other through this field, and we're having direct effect on everything at the same exact time. It's just a matter of how you're able to wield your portion of power and energy to get other frequencies to bend or match your frequency to get things to move in your favor.
Why do you think in ancient Kemet, they, from what I understand, people had to wait until they was 40 years old to study the mysteries?
Yeah, it's Well, you know, man, it's even deeper than that. A lot of times it was even after you got to that age, they still wouldn't pick you. So you were like hand selected. What they would do is they would look for what they call adepts, ADEPTS, adepts. And so they would see like how a person's developing as a child, what their aptitude is, what spiritually, how are they linked, how are they connected to things, how were they connected to nature, how their IQ was, what their personality and energy was, because I knew that once they give you this information, it can directly affect you in a way that you can literally go to the dark side, just like in Star Wars. Okay, you can be for the light, or you can be for the dark. This is talked about in the Emerald Tablets. I talk about this in my book all the time. So they understood this, and they understood that the light of the information, just because it's light, information of light, it also, depending on your consciousness and depending on the person's true spiritual nature, it could push them to use that information for the dark side. So everybody was handpicked. Adepts were handpicked, and they always try to pick the best of the best, the people who they thought would move in a specific direction to take things in a positive light and help usher or move, the population into a golden age or sustain a golden age. Unfortunately, it works only for a certain amount of time. I mean, we're not experts at picking people out, but they did a pretty good job back in the day, because for so long, Kemet was war-free, problem-free, no military, no police, no wars. People for thousands of years only spent time on doing arts and crafts and experimenting and learning about nature and traveling around the world and gaining knowledge, and that's all they did. So it worked until at one point in which we were overthrown, and then that's when the collapse of the consciousness started to happen. And a lot of these ancient wisdom teachings and these mystery schools became secret societies, and then a lot of them were directed strictly for darkness, but they all stem from the original mysteries.
You know what's interesting is that with things like me and you are talking about, like, we're not talking about pop culture or a lot of the distractions that we see around. And a lot of people are focused on getting what they call the bag, getting that money, getting that paper. The interesting thing about life is that the rich people, once they obtain a certain amount of wealth, let's say 100 million, a billion or whatever, they go back to spirituality because they have this awakening like, oh shit, this ain't true happiness. Yeah. So we spent our whole life trying to obtain what they told us is peace, happiness, success. Then once we follow those rules and we get to a certain level and we get millions and billions, as Trump say, millions and millions of dollars, we find out that happiness is within. Yeah. So they go to like the Deepak Chopras or the side guru or whatever these dudes' name is, and they like, yo, help me. I got $1 billion and I'm still unhappy. You know what I'm saying? The gurus, they talk about the gurus, they got big clients, man. Big clients, bro. Dude. So I just find that's real interesting, Billy.
Yeah, it's real. You know, that's why my book, which is coming out now probably in 2 weeks, Woke Doesn't Mean Broke is the name of the book. I literally help guide a person through a combination of spirituality and financial enlightenment at the same time, you see? So my goal in this book is so that when you get to the bag, okay, you're happy because you've already been developing yourself on the inside. You've already been tapping into self-knowledge, self-wisdom, self-love, and you've been moving up that ladder, also understanding how to manipulate the financial matrix. And now when you get to that peak, everything kind of just happens all at once. And so all this, what's happening, what you're talking about, like becoming a trillionaire and then still being unhappy, that shouldn't even exist. And so this book takes you through meditations. It takes you through spiritual and financial meditation. It takes you through manifestation techniques. It takes you through do's and don'ts of finances and what to do and what not to do and how to save money on taxes and how to manipulate the system over here and here. So it's really a very incredible book. And I think that it's going to help offset what you're talking about right now that's been happening to people and get them to that enlightenment spiritually and financially at the same exact time.
When you said this is releasing?
That book should be out in about 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks. I'll be putting it up for sale. It'll go on to my website and also on Amazon. Woke Doesn't Mean Broke.
Everybody that signs up for the remote viewing, you should give them a discount. You know?
Oh, you know I will. Absolutely. We're going to be happy to do that. We have to give them a discount.
They
Yeah.
deserve it. Yo,
The
how
Black
many of y'all
Magic
signed?
363.
Go ahead. What you said, Billy?
I said we're going to give them the Black Magic 363 discount code.
Indeed,
Exactly.
indeed. What how many of y'all signing up for the remote viewing workshop? I'm just curious to know who in here is signing up for the remote viewing workshop. Let me know. It's December 5th, y'all. I can't wait. You know, while I wait on y'all to put that in the chat, what do you think about people, Billy Carson? We're talking about tapping within and going beyond what the collective consciousness is able to see or hear or experience, and have this, you know, so they call it ESP, extrasensory perception. What's going on with people who have mental health? Like, let's say people who are schizophrenic, or people who hear things, or people that society calls, you know, yo, they're crazy. Like, do you think they're misdiagnosed if a person says, yo, Billy, I just seen 5 aliens in the backyard, or yo, I just heard this, or I just heard that? What do you think we should do about the people with mental health if you was in a position to do something?
You know, there's a lot of people right now that are suffering from mental health issues. And I know this personally because I did a show on my TV network where I went to a facility, a Better You Wellness facility in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I did a whole show at the facility, and I brought in the owner of Raw Juice, Barry Rapkin, to feed them raw juices and everything else. I had a chance to interact with the people there. I was about probably 40 or 50 homeless people, and the majority of them, I would say at least 2/3 of them had mental situations. You could tell just by talking to them, they weren't, you know, what we would consider to be mentally stable. And so I think that from seeing that, there's a situation here that we have where the human brain is so complex and so intricate, and any little tiny thing during the developmental stage or even later on in life can just alter the neurons to where they send out information differently. And when that starts to happen, for example, let me give you an example. In your frontal lobe, which is in here, it controls your ability to stop an action that would be detrimental to your life or your future. Or, you know, in other words, if somebody pisses you off and you say, I want to kill this person. Now you said it, but your frontal lobe stops you from doing it because it knows that there's going to be a consequence, cause and effect. If I kill this person, I'm going to go to jail and I'm going to be suffering. So what you do is you said your frontal lobe stops you. Now there are people that have an issue. Their frontal lobe isn't working properly. It's not, the neurons aren't firing off information properly. And because of that, they are considered to be natural born killers. If they get the inkling to kill somebody, they literally can't stop themselves. Like they literally can't stop. So there's people out there that have these different types of mental conditions that, you know, that are really from, in a way, birth defects. And they need a lot of real assistance and real help. For these braces are hard to talk. So it's really interesting. Also, I think there's some people whose minds are tapping into other realms, other fields of information, and they're hearing voices, they're hearing sounds in their head. And I think that they really are hearing things in their head and hearing other sounds and voices, maybe even from other dimensions, maybe from other realms. And some of them are even seeing things, maybe because just because our eyes are only seeing 1%, maybe they're seeing a little bit more. Maybe they're seeing 1.5 or 1.7. Okay. And so now they're seeing things and they're having what we call hallucinations. Maybe they're just seeing more than we can actually see. Maybe they might be seeing a little bit of the ultraviolet or a little bit of the multi-spectrum. And we don't, you know, we just diagnose them as crazy. So there's so many things going on. If I had the money, I would build a massive facility, maybe 3 or 4 in different areas of the country. And I would have a lot of people brought in, you know, bust in, and I would have them analyzed, and I would have scans done on them to figure out exactly specifically what's wrong and what may not be wrong, maybe what talents that they have that we haven't even known that we're not taking advantage of, or teaching them how to take advantage of their own talents. And what is the next stage of evolution in mankind? Are these some of the anomalies that we're seeing as we move forward to becoming more, you know, incredibly sensory perceptive beings in different areas? So I think that I would create facilities, man, and bring these people in and give them food, housing, and I would, you know, definitely I wouldn't return them into lab rats, but I would want to test and see specifically what's going on, and if there is something going on, how can we now attack these problems with solutions? What can we do? Can it be Can we create stem cells from their bodies and inject them back into their own bodies so they can heal themselves, heal their brains? Just various different techniques I would like to try to see if we can help a lot of these people. Because a lot of people that are homeless, the first thing a lot of people say is they want to be homeless. They don't want to work. No, that's not the case. That's not exactly the case. Because I slept on the street before. I slept on the beach one time for 1 week. Okay. I was homeless for 1 week. I lost everything. And it was on the beach for 1 week. I had my car, so I did sleep in the car. But I was just sitting outside on the beach because you can't keep the car on all day, gas and AC. So somebody lent me $30, and I got change for that $30. Got quarters, $30 in quarters from a hotel in the parking lot that I was sleeping. And I got on the payphone and got a yellow pages out from that phone book, and I started calling businesses and creating marketing deals, and got a couple of advanced payments, and got myself back in an apartment and everything else. So that was a long time ago, obviously before cell phones even existed. But the fact of the matter is, I didn't want to be out there, So I know what it feels like. So I really relate to those people, and there's a lot of people out there that really need a lot of help, man. And a lot of them are ex-veterans.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I didn't know that, man. That's in you. You've come a long way, my brother. You've come.
Oh yeah, a pocket full of quarters on a payphone with a yellow pages, man.
Yeah, that's a long way, brother.
Yeah.
What can you tell me? Like I tell you, I can't express enough how much I'm intrigued by this type of information, and how much it just represents who I am on a day-to-day basis. And I have a yearning to be the best possible version of myself and to tap into these dormant abilities that exist within inside me. So just like with the Imagination conference, I had the Kundalini workshop with Blue Pill. Like this stuff, I love this stuff. So that this is what I deliver to the world. I want to ask you about something else people would say is far-fetched and it's fake. You had a picture on your Instagram, a video one time, and heard somebody else talking about it, of a kid. He was reading a book, not by reading it, but by absorbing it. He was like absorbing the book. What's going on with that? Like, is it like, that sounds crazy, Billy.
Yeah.
If I tell somebody I'm just gonna absorb the book, they'd be like, yo, Rich, yo. So talk to me about what exactly is going on when somebody's absorbing. Like, how can you read like that?
Yeah, it's amazing. There's so much information that can be picked up by our sensory perception. Like, for example, so this kid, if it's real, what's happening, it could be that his sense of touch is able to detect dark and light. So obviously the print is dark and then the page is lighter in most cases. That's the way it typically is. Is it possible that he has some way of having light receptors in his fingertips, and as he's rubbing his hand across the pages, is he detecting the light and the dark and then seeing those words as images in his head? If you think about me, for example, I was born with synesthesia. So my audio and visual cortex are merged at birth. Only 1 in 100,000 people have this situation. So what happens is every sound that I hear, I see a color and a number, in my eyes. This is why I wear shades. People say, why are you always wearing shades? The shades actually kind of dull down the input a little bit. So I wear shades, especially so I don't have a lot of the eye movement that I would do. Normally when I'm hearing all these sounds, my eyes are moving all over the place. People think I'm crazy. So I wear shades a lot, and some days it's more irritated than normal. So in that case, I see sounds, and also if I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling fast, and somebody has on a shirt like your color right now, these bright colors, these bright reds and yellows and things like that, I actually have to slow down the scrolling. I have to slow down because those colors give me a sensation, so I can feel colors and I can see sounds. And this is because my brain is merged right there in that sector. So this particular person could have a merged visual and touch in their brain. It could be slightly merged together. And so they're getting a combination of both, this kid. It's very possible. It's really amazing. But, it looks like it's really happening, and people have tested this out and tried to see if it's a hoax and everything else. And it really seems as if he's really doing it, so it's possible. There was one other kid that is blind, completely blind. He could play, a black kid. He could play video games. He navigates through his neighborhood, and he rides a bike, all with clicks. So when he's out in the neighborhood, he's making these clicks. And these clicks that he's making are bouncing off of objects, and it's going back to his head, and he's able to then process those clicks into sound, into images, like a bat does. Okay? So he's able to see like a bat, and he's a human being. And he can play kickball, he can ride bikes, and everything else. He's legally blind. I mean, he doesn't even have eyes. So it's incredible. It's incredible with the human avatar body. This is the most sophisticated machine, on this planet. It's forget the supercomputers and the quantum computers and everything else. Nothing still is better than the human avatar body and its capabilities. And like you said, we're going to learn how to tap into a lot of these capabilities, like going through these workshops. It's going to help us realize what we have and how we can access it.
Yeah, like I said, this is just amazing stuff. Somebody's right. Oh, okay. Shout out to the chat room once again. I'm on live with Billy Carson. We are talking about the Akashic records. We are also talking about remote viewing. We are hosting a workshop on December 5th dealing with how to tap into your remote viewing abilities, your ESP, your extrasensory perception. And we are we're ascending, man. The consciousness is rising and we're tapping into these powers, family. So don't get left behind. That's what this channel is called, Black Magic, for a reason. We tapping into our inner magic. It's nothing scary. It's nothing spooky. It's just a magic that we have been, we've been so dumbed down. So that's what this age is about. Age of Aquarius is this. It's a reawakening into who we really are. What I want to ask you, Billy, what now? So what goes on when there's instances when let's say a mother's child is trapped in a car. And this is a woman. Women are known for not being as physically strong as men, but there's been instances. I've heard stories in the hood like, yo, she broke the glass with her butt. Like she went around, you hear these stories about women or just people picking up cars, like out of nowhere. We think all this shit is impossible, but we get some anger in us or whatever that emotion is, and then we just do the impossible.
Yeah.
How can what is happening there, and how can we tap into more of that, Billy?
Right. Well, that goes into the energetic field that's already inside the human body. Let me give you the exact numbers. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna give you the exact numbers real quick on that and why this is possible. So, there's a show that used to come on when I was a lot younger. You probably don't know about it. It's called That's Incredible. Was the name of the show? That's Incredible. And on That's Incredible, they actually had one episode what exactly what you're talking about. For example, this car rolled over and the woman's baby was inside, strapped in the car seat, couldn't get out. And this woman literally lifted that car up and rolled it over. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Little tiny lady. So, back then cars had more steel in them than now too. So it wasn't like a fiberglass paperweight car either, which is really amazing. But you got to understand this. The human body has 37.5 trillion cells. Each cell in the human body generates 0.07 volts of electricity. So at 37.5 trillion cells, that's 2.63 trillion volts of electricity in one human body. One human body is a walking explosion. We got all that power inside of our body.
That's more than a lightning bolt that we see in the sky.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Exactly. That's powerful. So what's happening is, like in Qigong, these Qigong masters, they have the ability to access that energy source and channel it up the spine, up through the chakra system, and into their hands, and they can utilize it. Reiki healing, the same exact thing. You're channeling energy up through the chakra system that's already inside the body, and they're using it. Now, when you're talking about getting into a situation where adrenaline kicks in and you're accessing, something opens up in the brain that allows you to access this power source, you now become 3, 4, 5 times stronger than you normally would have been, because now your body has literally tapped into the energy field that's already inside of it. And it's now in overdrive, and you have the capability of literally doing amazing things when that happens. It's just like people who train in martial arts for years, and then now they can chop blocks in half. They can chop concrete stone in half. They have discovered a way to go from calm to accessing their energy source all at one time. They don't break their hand. They don't break their fingers. Why it's not broken? It's not broken because they've literally encased even their hand in an energy field. So when these things happen, these people are literally tapping into the energy already in their body. It's not miracles. There's no supernatural being that said, I'm going to help you save your kid today. Give this energy to you. No, it's inside of you already.
Inside all of us.
Inside of all of us. That's right.
It's amazing, man. I don't know why this stuff wouldn't excite more people. Maybe because, they're not trying to, I really am trying to tap into this ability.
Yeah.
I really am, and there was one time when I was young, what made me interested in this also and let me know something's going on. I remember I got into a car accident in the 5th grade. I don't know if I told you. And I was in a school play yard and somebody must have moved the barricade. So a car was coming. I slipped and I fell. And I'm in the 5th grade, so I don't, I'm slim now, so I was a tiny little guy, and the car actually, like, I'm laying on the ground, and the car rolled over my knee, my right knee. It touched my left knee. It realized it was on me. Then it rolled over my knee again to get off of me. So my right knee got rolled over twice. So when I seen the car coming, I braced for it because I realized what was about to happen, and I didn't have one broken bone. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have no broken bones. I had, some scars, scars or whatever, but I didn't have, like, and that's your knee. You would think your knee would be broke or something, like, and when that happened, all the doctors kept saying, yo, this is a miracle. Nothing wrong with you. You should be good in a couple of weeks. I was good in like 3 weeks. I was back to playing basketball and living my normal kid life. But because that happened, I said, damn, I just knew there was something else going on or something else inside of me that I could activate if I was ever in any type of danger,
Yeah, it's very possible. And, you could have literally sent energy directly to that leg. You're embracing for that impact. You're embracing for that. And if you're, the way that I do things, like when somebody around me, I've been doing this since I was a kid, somebody sneezes around me or coughs around me. Since I was a kid, because I didn't want to get sick, I would imagine this field coming out of my head and wrapping around my body. And I don't know if it works or not, but I only had 8 colds in my entire life. So, another thing is when that was happening to you and you're embracing for that, you could have sent energy directly to that leg, a field of energy from your body surrounding that leg. And when that car went over it back and forth, it didn't have the same effect it would have had if you didn't send energy to that leg. And these are, I think, just all innate abilities that we all have that we are able to activate from time to time, just not consistently, So what happens is when things like that happen, all of a sudden people think it's a miracle and some deity from some book blessed them and gave them the ability to get over it. When in true reality, we activated something ourselves within ourselves. We just don't know how to consistently do it.
Yeah, man, it's interesting. So you're saying that when the adrenaline kicks in, that's the cortisol in your body that's
well, it can activate cortisol, but adrenaline is something totally different. It's an actual thing that's released directly into the bloodstream. And once it goes into the bloodstream, your body goes into overdrive. Like your muscles go into overdrive, your respiratory system goes into overdrive, and it gives you the ability to have these quick bursts of power like you normally wouldn't be able to have. Like, so you go from 0 to 100 like that, and you're really able to maximize whatever you're trying to do, whether it's running, through a window, whether it's, lifting something heavy, trying to save somebody or help somebody. That adrenaline kicks in, and athletes have learned how to access this power, and they've learned how to slowly let the adrenaline come into the body. In other words, their adrenaline levels are higher than the average person. The elite athletes have learned how to, like, trickle it, like a drip system where they have just enough of it. And you look at the NBA playoffs and this last one that just happened, these guys playing 40, 45 minutes, getting 20 seconds and 40 seconds rest during the entire game. That's when you know that these people are tapping into another level of energy. Because if you can play for 5 minutes hard in a basketball game at that level, you're doing phenomenal.
Yeah.
To go for 40 minutes, 40 plus minutes, you're talking about tapping into energy, man. Energy sources inside of your body that a lot of people don't even have the ability to tap into. So they're trickling the adrenaline, they're accessing their energy source in their body cells, and they're being able to prolong and keep going a lot longer than the average person. But they're also capable in those moments of these quick energy bursts in between all of that that's that adrenaline power that takes them from 0 to 100 and gives them that ability to, you know, make that first step quicker, attack the rim harder, slam dunk over 3 people, you know, and it's just amazing what the body can do. It's really amazing.
What you just said reminds me of when Vince Carter jumped over somebody's head. You remember that?
Goodness, in the
Like,
Olympics.
the dude was like 7 feet tall.
7'1" actually. He jumped over and he cleared him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro.
Now
that ain't, bro, that's amazing.
Yeah. They called him half man, half amazing. That was his
nickname. Yeah. Half man. Yeah. Hey, there go right there.
Yeah.
Half man, half amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, man, there's some interesting stuff. Family, once again, this is Brother Rich with Billy Carson. We having a great talk on just us tapping into powers that we don't normally tap into, and how it's here waiting for us to be activated. And we're saying, Billy said earlier, it's we could tap into it more now because of these cosmic rays coming through. You heard Arlene Bay say it. You heard Blue Pill talk about it. Now is the time, 2020. Yeah. Don't buy the media's hype. Don't get so caught up in Trump and Biden. I seen a video today of people fighting over Trump and Biden. I just said, what's your thoughts on the election? Just a side thought. What's your thoughts on this whole?
Let me tell you, man. You know, I just made a post on Forbidden Knowledge with one of those voting stickers that said, "Today I drop knowledge." You know what I'm saying? It looks like a voting sticker, but it has nothing to do with voting. I think that the whole thing is a farce. I think it's a waste of energy. Let me tell you my history in terms of presidents, okay? I grew up in the hood, underneath the hood at Opelika down in Miami. It's actually worse now than it was when I was there. And it's pretty bad. I drove over there not too long ago. There's barbed wire around the elementary school I went to. I went down my old block just going down memory lane, you know? And I was there. I saw Nixon, Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, Bush Sr., Clinton, Bush Jr., Obama, and Trump. That's a lot. That's how many presidents I've been through, man. And guess what? The hood is worse than ever. And all these people are over there right now arguing and fussing and fighting with each other who they gonna vote for. You know, think about it, man. It's ridiculous. It's the only thing that presidents have the capability of doing is enriching themselves. They get to tweak a couple of little laws here and there, but nothing major. There's nothing major that they can actually do. They don't even have the highest security clearance in the military. They're not higher than cosmic clearance from NATO. They're not even close to NATO cosmic top secret. Okay. They don't have all the security codes to launch any missile. They can't just go press a button and send a missile over to Russia. They can't do that. I mean, heck, Trump couldn't even shut down Twitter. He got mad at Twitter for suppressing his tweets, and he couldn't even turn them off. I'm going to turn off TikTok. He can't turn off TikTok. He can't. I'm going to bring in the military. I'm going to bring in the martial law. He can't bring in martial law. He can't do anything. He can make some money, and he can make some financial things happen for taxes, and he can make some good real estate deals happen for people in real estate, you know, people in businesses. He can put some things in place for that. That's all they're going to let him do. They're not going to let him control this planet and control. He is a puppet that has to answer to people, just like Biden will be a puppet, just like Obama was a puppet. All of these people are puppets. The people above them control the Electoral College. I'm making a video on this now. The Electoral College picks the president of the United States. This has been proven over and over again. I don't care if everybody voted for Biden, Trump is still going to win the election because the people at the top of the pyramid are going to put Trump in that office by telling the Electoral College, no, ignore the popular vote. You put this vote in. And they're going, yes, sir, because they know they better do it. And then that person becomes the president. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. Trump became the president. Bush lost the popular vote. Bush Jr., he became the president twice. I mean, come on, man. How many times? And people keep falling for this scam. You know, there's people out there right now that will see somebody on this. They portray them as left and right. And they would literally not only argue, but they would literally be willing to kill each other in the streets over people who can care less about them, who's not going to lose 1 hour of sleep, 1 second of sleep, knowing that they just killed each other over poly tricks, is what I like to call it, poly tricks. It's one of the biggest scams that has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. Polytricks is not new. And America didn't invent polytricks. It started in the Sumerian tablets when they installed the bicameral Congress in the land of Sumeria. They gave it to us, this big farce of a scam, and got us running around here fighting each other over crumbs while they keep making the divide between rich and poor even further away. And they're laughing. Both sides are laughing at the people. They're laughing at the sheep, because I don't care if you go on the left side or you go on the right side, all sheep are led to slaughter, period. And you know, it's really a shame that every 4 years adults fall for the same trick. And I remember when I was 8 years old and I looked up at my mom, I said, Mom, can I ask you a question? How long are adults going to fall for this trick? I never forget that. And she just laughed. She just laughed like, I said, it's a trick. This is not real, because I'm looking outside and I'm in the ghetto and I can't even afford a piece of bubble gum from the ice cream truck, and we're eating government food and we're getting donations to have food. I'm eating Cairo toast and syrup. That's my meal. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, this is fake. It's fake. So I think that people need to focus on what I do. I vote for myself. Every single day, I become my own president. When I open my eyes, I'm my own president. And now what I do is I administer to my own life. And I find ways around this financial matrix, around this institutional matrix, to benefit me and my family. And I focus on those kind of things. And eventually, when enough people wake up, we'll focus on not participating in the system. Imagine a day when everybody wakes up and goes, you know, nobody's going to vote. Nobody's going to go to work. Nobody's going to pay their taxes. Nobody's going to pay their mortgage payment. No, we're not paying these car payments. No, we're not paying these student loans anymore. You know what? We're just not going to do anything. And you are going to have to answer to us. We're going to renegotiate this whole system, and we're going to take control over it. No, people in Senate and Congress are not going to sit there for 20 and 30 years. You got people in Congress and Senate right now that have been there since the old racist, super racist systems existed, and they still have that same mindset today, and they're still sitting there, and they're going to sit there for another 10, 15 years till they die. That has to come to an end. People are fighting over a system that's built for the elite and is built for people to make a lot of money off the backs of the average everyday person, and has the everyday person fighting each other about these people who don't give a damn about them. They're sitting up there in $3,000 suits, and all they're doing is figuring out, how can I get enough of these dumb poor people to go to war for me so I can make some more money? At what point are we going to wake up and realize this thing is a gigantic scam? The hell with Biden, the hell with Trump, the hell with all of them. I'm going to focus on me.
Indeed, brother. Indeed. I definitely hear what you're saying. And it makes a lot of sense, my brother. It makes a lot of sense. Before I forget, somebody told me the other day, I don't know if somebody hit me up on Instagram or something, but we was talking about, you know, tapping into these abilities we have within us. And me and Blue Pill just did the Kundalini workshop. Somebody said, yo, Rich, the Incredible Hulk is really about tapping into your Kundalini energy, or resurrecting this energy, and you become this, you know, you could become this ex super powerful being. Mm-hmm. What do you think? There's any truth to that?
That sounds pretty. You know, a lot of these shows and these movies, they always hide these little esoteric tricks and information inside of them. You know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't surprise me that the person that came up with the concept for that Hulk was trying to convey a message, because what it really seems like, a lot of these artistic people that create these movies and these shows, they really, man, a lot of them are really well researched. Like, really, like you think of the people that, like, you know, these superheroes, it's all about Kundalini and chakras and spirituality and higher levels of consciousness and tapping into the inner energy and the inner power inside of you. And, you know, and then learning how to take that same power that you discovered now, and how can you go, how can you make it better? How can you practice and get stronger at that thing? So when you watch some of these shows and these movies and stuff that these people have written, you really realize, like, there's been a lot of research into ancient texts and tablets and spirituality. Then they embed it into science fiction, and we go, wow, what a great sci-fi movie. Not realizing that, no, that's supposed to be what we can do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Somebody in the chat, we're gonna probably be here for about 15 more minutes, family. It's 12, it's midnight, it's getting late. Yeah. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We got over 1,000 people in the chat room. Thanks for everybody for staying up with us. With Billy Carson, Brother Rich, about to get to some questions in a second. Make sure y'all sign up though. If you enjoyed this conversation today, this is just a good old conversation that we had today. The brother has some slides earlier. This is quality conversation, right? Spiritual conversation right here that we're having on a Wednesday night. It's now Thursday at midnight, 11 o'clock, whatever time it was we started. But it's good talk, family. I know y'all been interested, intrigued by this conversation because we are intrigued. We are intriguing entities. So anytime you talk, you hear somebody talking about who you really are, you're going to be intrigued about it if you just a little bit conscious. So don't run away from who you are. Embrace who you are. Embrace your abilities and your gifts and your talents. And that's what this channel is all about, family. I'm about to put the link in the description. Make sure you sign up for the workshop. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Like I said, the first question I want to ask you, somebody in the chat asked a little while ago, and I'm curious to know what you think about this if you read it. Have you read the Seth material, Billy Carson?
S-E-T-H?
Yes, Seth. It's by Jane Roberts.
No, I haven't heard that one. Let me write that down now.
Give me 1 second while you write that down. Give me one second.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can talk to the people. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, when somebody tells me a book that I haven't heard of before, I write it down immediately. And I haven't heard of the Seth Records. I'm going to go ahead and save this right now. Yeah, it's rare that somebody gives me a book that I never heard of. so as soon as somebody does that, the first thing I do is I write it down and I make sure I add it to my list of books to research because I definitely like to get as much new information as possible because I've seen and read so much that at some point it's like, damn, what else can we do? Seth MacFarlane? No, that wouldn't be it. I got to make sure I get the right name when Brother Rich gets back on. I want to make sure I got the right one.
Yeah, Billy, damn, I just had a page too.
Yeah.
This right here, family. This is a good one here. It's called Seth Speaks, the Eternal Validity.
There it goes. Seth Speaks. Okay.
Yeah, this is a good one here. There's 2 books. This is one of them. Let me just read you a little passage.
Okay.
Just to give you, similar to the stuff you talk about, Billy Carson, real similar.
Yeah.
It was by a lady who was channeling this this entity.
Wow.
And it's always interesting because her stuff it lines up with what the quantum physicists are saying about the nature of reality. So you can't really say if somebody's channeling something, they say a channel, you can't say, usually we say, well, where's your references? They don't have a reference. But when that channel is in alignment with what the scientists are saying, or the scientists say something later that channel has said before, then it's like, wait a minute, that person was on to something. You know what I'm saying? But let me just read you a sentence from the book. You usually do not realize that your physical body is created by you at each moment as a direct result of your inner conception of what you are, or that it changes in important chemical electromagnetic ways with the ever-moving pace of your own thought. See, it's so much.
That's real. That's what I'm talking about all the time. You literally.
Yeah. No, it's very similar to what you talk about.
Yeah. Wow. I ordered the book I just ordered it, by the way.
Oh, you ordered it that fast?
Yeah, $15.95 on Amazon.com.
Yeah, if I get to a good part, I'm gonna read it because I'll be reading forever if I just start reading. Yeah, but yeah, I'm about to get to some questions, y'all. So give me some questions. I just want to see if I seen something real good for y'all, but I'll get back to it. But once again, family, Seth Speaks. Good book, family. Good book. Good book.
Yeah. All right. I ordered it, man. Tell whoever that was, thank you. I appreciate it. I just got the book. I just bought it.
Yo, Billy said thank you to whoever asked that question. Billy gonna come back even show. He gonna be even more prepared for the remote viewing. He gonna be for the workshop. He gonna be even extra sharp, y'all. Let me get to some questions. Let me get a chat. They talking tonight in the chat. Y'all must be intrigued and interested about what's going on. Have you ever let me read. Somebody wrote, is this true? Somebody wrote, Justin Thomas wrote, Nikola Tesla and Einstein would channel their ideas. Einstein called it thought stream, I think.
Yeah. So that's accurate. So both Einstein and Nikola Tesla use a form of remote viewing to get their knowledge for their inventions or and well, Einstein for his theories, and for Nikola Tesla for his experiments. So Einstein would go into these semi-awake, semi-sleep states, which we're going to be experimenting with when we do the remote viewing workshop. And he would get these downloads. This information would come to him about these theories. That's where they were coming from. Remember, he was a patent clerk. He was a failed like college kid, became a patent clerk. Then all of a sudden, he came up with the most incredible theories in physics that ever existed. And a lot of that stuff runs our technology today. And a lot of that stuff he got from these remote viewing fields that he would go into, these remote viewing sessions he would go into. And Nikola Tesla, what's so amazing about him, he was using the same exact techniques. And so what he would do is he would go into these semi-awake, semi-sleep states, and he would come up with inventions. So he said he would download the invention. So he would download the invention, and then in his mind, without writing anything on paper, he would build it. He actually would build the actual, like if it was an AC generator, he would build the AC generator in his brain. Then he would turn it on. And if it worked, it was great. If it didn't work, he would then figure out through his thoughts what was broken. Then he would fix that, and then he would run it again until it got it right. Then he would then make it into an invention in the physical third dimension. But all this information they claim to have downloaded through these thought experiments is what they call them. Pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let me before I get to the next question, let me just read this from the book, the Seth Speaks book.
Okay.
Seth says, this is a channel. The exterior religious dramas are, of course, imperfect representations of the ever unfolding interior spiritual realities. The various personages, the gods and prophets within religious history, these absorb the mass inner projections thrown out by those inhabiting a given time span. Such religious dramas focus, direct, and hopefully clarify aspects of inner reality that need to be physically represented. These do not only appear within your own system, many are also projected into other systems of reality. Religion per se, however, is always the external facade of inner reality. The primary spiritual existence alone gives meaning to the physical one. In the most real terms, religion should include all of these pursuits of man in his search for the nature of meaning and truth. Spirituality cannot be some isolated, specialized activity or characteristic. Exterior religious dramas are important and valuable only to the extent that they faithfully reflect the nature of inner private spiritual existence. To the extent that a man feels that his religion expresses such inner experience, he will feel it valid. Most religions, however, set up a permissible certain groups of experiences while denying others. They limit themselves by applying the principles of the sacredness of life only to your own species and often to highly limited groups within it. So I'm stopped there.
Wow. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah, it's a good book, man. Good book, Billy. Good book.
Wow.
Good book. Somebody wanted to know, Billy, what are your thoughts on Preston Nichols' Montauk Project?
Oh, wow. The Montauk Project. Whew. That thing is a powerful project. You have the Montauk chair. So the theory is that this chair was reverse engineered alien technology, and that it had the capability of taking a person through portals, if he's talking about the same Montauk Project. And so this Montauk chair was in this location, I think it was 1000 Sepulveda Boulevard in California, down in the basement of this building where they actually had this device, this chair, whatever it was. And they would literally experiment with this, and through a conscious thought wave and interacting with the technology built into this chair, a person would move through dimensions or even into a portal that would take them to another place. This is some amazing stuff. And a couple of people had come out and talked about this. And obviously now a lot of information has come out in books and everything else. I think there's even might have even been a movie or a documentary about it on TV. But the Montauk is I think it's a real thing. I think it's a real thing that actually existed. Yeah.
Indeed. Okay. Let's see. Somebody asked about December 21st. A couple of people earlier I seen asked about what's your thoughts on December 21st this year. It's supposed to be some type of a major alignment. Any thoughts on that?
We're moving into that solstice, that winter solstice, and I think that there's a lot of people are trying to say that we're going to have this special transformation of consciousness on the planet on December 21st, and some people are saying it's going to be dark in the daylight and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, the more I dig for research on these topics, the less anything valid that I can really find other than other people's opinions, but there's no real evidence for any of it. I think that we're moving into a solstice period, as we always do every single year. And other than that, we're already in the galactic equator. We're already getting an enormous amount of charged particles coming at us on a daily basis, altering and modifying our DNA, helping us wake up more. We're all becoming more awakened individuals by every moment that goes by. I don't think anything particularly special is going to happen on that day. A lot of the times when people put a specific date on an event that's going to change humanity, it's usually something fabricated, unfortunately, because it's hard to put a specific date. Even with remote viewing, remember I told you before, it's hard to put a date on something because mind is outside of space and time. Information is outside of space and time. You can get a particular idea, but to have a specific date, and time, and it's very, very tough to lock it down in that way. So I just believe that it could be somebody hyping. It could be somebody, finding a way to just, put a conscious virus out there and let it spread all around and get a kick out of it. I just believe that around 2025 is when we're going to start to see a lot of really dramatic changes. Why in 2025? No specific date, just around that time frame, because we have the real age of Aquarius kicking in at that moment. That's when the age of Aquarius actually really starts. It's 2025. So I think 2025 is going to be a very interesting year on this planet. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff going on, a lot of incredible things, a lot of incredible breakthroughs, not only in consciousness, but also technology, releasing technology, and the way that we move towards a green planet. I think a lot of that stuff's going to start moving forward in 2025 as we change kingship over the earth. We're leaving out of the rulership of the Pisces, which is Amun Ra and Marduk, who's a very evil person. And we're moving into another ruler that's going to be taking over. I think that we're moving into an age of enlightenment, not a golden age yet, but definitely a more enlightened state. And people are going to wake up at an even faster rate. But as far as this year, 21st, I just don't really foresee anything special happening other than the solstice.
Indeed. LOMG TV wants to know, did you see the movie Dr. Sleep? They use remote viewing and astral traveling.
Wow, remote sleep. Didn't see that one. Let me.
Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep. Okay. Let me type that down on my thing here. Dr. Sleep. Thank you. I'm going to check that out ASAP.
Me too. Me too. Justin Thomas wants to know, have you ever heard of the black physicist Ronald Mallet, who's working on time travel by generating a circular beam of light that warps space-time?
Oh, yeah. Man, I've been trying to get a hold of him, okay?
Wow, so you well aware of him then, huh?
Yeah, I'm well aware. He wants to go back in time because his father passed away. And so when his father died, he went on a quest consciously to try to figure out how can I build a time machine. He became a theoretical physicist. And he actually has a working machine right now that can send packets of data back in time through a laser beam that's spinning in counterclockwise is what it's doing. So it's spinning counterclockwise down a spiral. And so you can put information at the top as a piggyback on the laser. And then when it gets to the bottom, at some point it moves into a quantum phase shift and it moves back in time. What's interesting about time travel going back in time, you never really end up on your same timeline. This is what the grandfather paradox is all about. Right. So I do believe that when you go back in time, you actually shift timelines and you're moving in on another timeline because your frequency shifts, your frequency changes, even by just 0.011, whatever, 0.00001. You've changed frequency and you're now in an alternate universe that looks identically the same, smells, tastes, sounds the same. But that's why you can go back there. And if you killed your grandfather, you'd still be alive to travel back because you're in a different universe altogether.
Indeed. Just had to get rid of a troll. If you just stay with some positivity in the chat room, family. Stay with some positivity. I don't know who would be up at 12 midnight if they don't like what's going on. Who would just stay up? That's weird. Like I said, there's some weird people in this world. But I know y'all like this. I know y'all like this stuff. Otherwise, y'all wouldn't be commenting and watching it. But let me see what else. Buddha Black. Have you ever read the book The Isis Thesis?
The Isis Thesis. Boy, y'all give me some good ones today, man.
Yeah, that book. Especially since you got the Tahuti book, that would be a good one to read. That deals with the science of death. Yeah, definitely check that out.
I just typed that in my checklist now. I got that too. Boom.
Brother, I know you the brother who wrote that question, you probably said that because Panic just did that video. But yeah, I seen the Panic video. It was good, family. So I don't know if you've seen it, but the Panic's video was good. You could check that out.
I'll check it out.
I'm gonna take 2 more questions, y'all.
Yeah, I just got this book, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, you just got it?
I just bought it.
Damn, Billy ain't playing, man. Billy, before we continue, tell them your website and stuff.
My website is Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, BIDDEN, Forbidden Knowledge. I'm also on forbiddenknowledge.tv on the internet. .tv, not .com. You can go to my streaming service there. I'm also on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV, Forbidden Knowledge TV. And my book right now, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, has been a bestseller on Amazon now for 17 consecutive months. I think I'm going to be able to break a record soon. The book is doing phenomenal. Almost 1,000 5-star reviews. The book has maintained a 5-star review for over a year and a half. Hard to do on Amazon, which is phenomenal. And of course, I do have an online store, Forbidden Knowledge online store. You can go there, just go to forbiddenknowledge.com, click the store, and make sure you use Black Magic 363 as your coupon code. He has a permanent coupon in the system, Black Magic 363, and you will be able to get a discount on anything you buy in the store. So check it out. We've got some great EMF protection devices in there, like EMF protection pyramids and so forth. So check out the store when you get a chance.
Indeed. I just put the link once again, family, for those asking about the workshop, the price, how do you go to get more information? I just put in the link again in the chat. So you could go to the link. I'm going to put it right now as I'm talking again so that there's no confusion. Give me a second. I just put the link once again, family. So anybody who wants to sign up, like I said, this is the most requested workshop that I have put together. People, we brought up the idea and people just went crazy asking about it. Like, when you going to do it? When you going to do it? So it's here now. It's happening December 5th. It's going to be off the hook. If you're interested in all this type of stuff and what we're talking about and tapping into these powers within you, which has nothing to do with the distractions out there, family, know thyself. That's what it's about. Sign up to the workshop. I just put the link in the description. Somebody had a question. Damn, I just lost it. Somebody had a question. Okay, well, Set My Yacht says, ask Billy, can some babies see Akashic records?
I think so. I think that babies can see a lot of things. I think they're still connected to the grid a lot better than we are. As they begin to develop and become older, their connection to the etheric realm weakens, but it's still there as you become an adult, but it just weakens. I think that naturally you see babies, they smiling at things, they're seeing things, they're smiling with their eyes closed. I think that they're inside or they're tapped into other fields of realities that we have lost our ability to tap into. And I really do believe that they could be tapping into not only the Akashic record, but even seeing multidimensional. Yeah. So, yeah, man, this is a great show. I'm glad you brought me on for this one.
No, they're definitely amazing. I just got a message that said my internet connection is unstable. We about to get out of here, family, because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. All I know is we talking about remote viewing, this Akashic records, and this high science, and we getting these technical things going on. Yeah. You don't want to. What I can tell you is that you don't want to miss this workshop, family. That's what I can tell you. Is that if you enjoyed this, don't lie to yourself and say you ain't enjoyed this show, because I know you lying. But if you enjoyed this and you did, sign up. Treat yourself to something nice this December while everybody else is buying gifts for Christmas and pocketbooks and all this stuff. Treat yourself to something nice. Invest in your spirituality. Invest in yourself, family.
Exactly.
because you're going to get a super return on your investment. But I want to thank you, brother, for coming on once again. Amazing show. We're going to be on here every week leading up until December 5th. So my brother Billy Carson will be back next Wednesday, Thursday, sometime like that. But I got a show coming on tomorrow, 9 o'clock, the Melanin Conference with KT the Arts Degree, Aline Bay, Q Reeves, and Akibalan 44 and Blue Pill. So it's 5 individuals. So tune in tomorrow, family, 9 o'clock. Billy Carson, anything else you want to tell the family about before we get out of here?
That's it, guys. Just stay tuned for my new book coming out very soon. Woke Doesn't Mean Broke. And our single, Woke Don't Mean Broke, is already out and it's going viral already. It's already spinning.
That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. I heard it.
And listen, it's burning up the airways, man.
That's hot. I feel that. I feel that. Yeah.
We got to get people in the mindset of understanding spirituality doesn't mean, financial disparity. We got to change that mindset. And, you should be walking in abundance, whatever that means to you. It doesn't mean you're a multimillionaire, but whatever abundance means to you, your needs should be met, period. You shouldn't be scuffling and struggling to get your needs met. And so the book is all about that and how to become spiritual and conscious and financially able. And the song Woke Don't Mean Broke is on all platforms right now. And it's a cool, fun song. And it's a way of just letting people say, hey, man, it's cool to be awake. And at the same time, hey, we got to get in and we got to eat, So it's a cool song and it's going viral right now. It's got a great sound to it, great feel to it, and people love it.
Shit, I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive. I got the whole universe within me. My DNA stretched miles and miles and miles long, man, brother.
Listen, you hear it.
Shit, I gotta up my mind and my thinking, and my perception of this world. Yo, one thing I want to share with you before we get out of here real quick, Billy, something that I just want to share with the family that has helped me to grow this year as well. We often hear people say, don't judge. And we always hear that, don't judge. And when we hear don't judge, we hear about judging individuals, which we should not, because often individuals are a reflection of us. But one thing I learned not to judge this year more, and I really tapped into it, is judging circumstances. And by that, I mean, it's like, let me give an example. If we had technical difficulties tonight, 5 years ago, I might be a little upset and I might say, damn, man, my show was ruined by technical difficulties. This year, I would say, well, I'm not going to call that bad. That just happened. Maybe it happened. Maybe there's a bigger picture to why that happened. Let me focus on, let me follow my internal GPS system and see where it leads me now that I couldn't complete the show. So I will follow my internal GPS system and just get involved with something else with not calling it bad at all. Oh man, my show got ruined. Damn, that's the Illuminati got to us. Oh man, it's fucked up. I'm not gonna do that no more. I'm not gonna do that no more. I'm not gonna judge circumstances or events. I'm gonna let them unfold. I'm gonna be the observer, and I'm gonna understand that as long as I stay tuned into who I am, that's only leading me to something greater. So I just been doing that more and more this year. Not saying you could hit your leg on the wall or whatever. It's a silly example, but whatever happens, I'm not saying things are bad. They just are what they are, and I'm just moving on from them. You know what I'm saying?
That's wisdom. That's wisdom and growth right there, man. That's wisdom and growth. Yeah, that's huge.
Man. That's what it's all about. Every year, just getting better and growing every year. And that's, that's why we having conversations like this. And we're offering workshops that, you was just telling people who you was talking about again with the remote viewing, the gentleman's name.
Which one? Major Ed Dames?
Ed Dames. Yeah, I forgot his name. Ed Dames.
Okay, Major Ed Dames. Yeah. So Major Ed Dames is a former CIA remote viewing instructor. I mean, he actually taught to the other people there, his team, and they would literally use remote viewing to gather intel for the military. Right now, he uses his incredible ability with remote viewing to look for Amber Alert children getting abducted from Amber Alerts and things like that. And he also helps the FBI on cases, special cases. And he's also a private for hire as well under Intelligence Matrix Agency. So, he really, the guy is just so talented in what he's done. There's even movies that have been done about him, it's in the box office. So he's well versed, he's experienced, he's done it at the highest level, Project Stargate, and I learned from him. And I'm now going to bring that knowledge to you guys, and you're going to be completely amazed at what you're going to find out, how powerful the mind is, and how you never knew you had these innate abilities, or maybe some of you did know, but now I'm going to teach you how to tap into it on a consistent basis and be able to access it and use it when you need it. It's going to really change your life. It's going to take you to another level. A lot of people see me moving through this matrix like, man, how do you do this? And how are you getting this done? And how are you coming up with this? And how are you getting all these amazing ideas? I'm just downloading information nonstop. That's literally what I'm doing. I'm literally downloading information, and I'm getting information, in my opinion, sometimes even from the future. And I'm then now utilizing information to make my life a lot better and easier here. And I'm tapping into that information to help me bring heaven to earth. Because I'm not going to wait till I die so I can live. I'm not going to play that game. I'm gonna live right now. And if you are the person that has a lot of things that you are trying to accomplish in this lifetime, in this incarnation, and you want to maximize your ability, this workshop is definitely something you should be a part of, because this workshop is going to give you some of the tools you need to maximize your avatar body in this third dimension.
Somebody in the chat said that Seth talks about remote viewing. I'm gonna look that up, and next week when Billy come back on, we'll talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
So there was a reason why that book was brought up. So I'm gonna look into it, and I'm gonna bring it up to Billy next week when we have to talk.
Perfect.
But family, once again, thanks for tuning in. My brother Billy Carson, thanks for coming on the platform once again.